Okay, so good afternoon, parents, students, and boarding school representatives. My name is Anne-Maria Bibe. I'm the Student Placement Manager at Nubi Education. We are delighted to have you in this virtual information session. We are so honored to have you set time aside from your busy schedules to spend the afternoon with us. So I will explain the nature of this event. We have 5 UK boarding school representatives in this session. They will introduce their schools and they would also provide updates on the strategies and protocols that they have in place to continue education for international students, as well as safeguard students on campus come September 2020. Without further ado, I'm now going to introduce our 5 boarding school representatives. We have Charlotte Avery, who is the headmistress at St. Mary's School, Cambridge. Hi, Charlotte.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Lovely to have you on here. We have Sarah Travis, who is the Senior Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment at TASIS England. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, nice to meet everyone, albeit virtually.
Thank you, Sarah. We've also got Yong Fang of Bosworth Independent College. Hello, Yong.
Hello, everyone.
And we've got Jane Grigg, who is the Director of Admissions and Development at Truro School. Hi, Jane.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
And last but most certainly not the least, we've got Pauline Hutchings, who is in charge of international recruitment for Bootham School. Hi, Pauline.
Hello, lovely to talk to everybody.
Thank you, Pauline. So basically, I would like to provide some house rules. So each delegate, each boarding school representative will have 10 minutes each for their presentations. We advise that in the first 5 minutes, you talk about your school, your individual school, and the remainder of your time, you speak about your COVID-19 responses. So we're really going to try to stick to the 10-minute slot for each delegate. And so 3 minutes before, the 10-minute time comes to an end, I will prompt you, and I will just remind you that, okay, you've got 3 more minutes left. And after the presentations have concluded, we will move to the Q&A session where we have a chat box for our students and parents to type in any questions or concerns that they have, and I will gladly read them out to the delegates to address. And without further ado, I'm now going to pass the baton to the Nubi Education Executive Director, Mrs. Rose Omonobi.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for the introduction. I'm Rose Omonobi, Executive Director, Nubi Education. I've met many of you, the partners here today. I always say to people that the boarding schools, it's not easy to get them out of their comfort zone. So when we have you, we are very happy and then we welcome you. So today is a great day for us because we've taken time to put this together for our parents and our students, because there has been some uncertainties. We all know what is happening in the world. We know that this pandemic has come with so many uncertainties, so many desperations, frustrations, and so parents are asking questions. Some of these parents already have offers. Some of them already have paid their fees. Like Sarah, the 3 students coming to you. they've all paid their fees, but they don't even know whether they are coming or they are not coming, because they don't know the program, what it's taking, whether it's online, whether it's blended, whether it's going to be face-to-face. So all these questions, what the parents are asking, how safe is UK for them to send their children? What preparations do they have in the boarding schools for the children coming to study in the UK? So we've been battling with these questions, and we thought, okay, let's get all the stakeholders together and let them ask their questions so you can answer them, because we are all in this together, you know. And we started this since June. June, we had so many sessions. Throughout June, we were doing webinars. This July too, we have another set of webinars, because we want you to know what is happening here, and then we want them to know how prepared you are. This is what this is all about. And I pray that by the time we finish, everybody will have information that will help them make informed decisions. So, Amari, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I would now like to ask Charlotte Avery of St. Mary's School, Cambridge, to commence with her presentation. Hello, Charlotte, are you there?
Yes, I am. Now, can you
Great.
see my full screen?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
My screen. Excellent.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you very, very much to Nubi Education for inviting me to present this afternoon. We are proudly an all-girls school. We have been providing education for over 120 years. We are a faith-based school, welcome children of every faith and also from secular backgrounds. We do have day students as well as boarding. And because all our students who board are fully international, there's no sense that the boarders are left, just a few boarders at weekends and everybody else goes home to English families. If we are 90 boarders during the week, we are 90 boarders during the weekend. Being based in Cambridge, I suppose it would not be a surprise to say we are an academic school, and we do have exceptionally strong results. We take the learning of the children very seriously indeed and follow the work of Professor Deborah Eyre, high performance learning. And we feel that that gives a very good groundwork for the girls in their preparation, both for GCSE and A-level, and then into university. And as you can see, we also pride ourselves on very small class sizes as well. I thought it'd be nice for you just to see a couple of pictures during the presentation of Nigerian girls. This is a picture of Fatima, who was our head boarder last year from Abuja. And you can see what she says about the experience, exposed to so many opportunities. I think being based in the historic city of Cambridge really does allow the girls to have access to world-leading opportunities, particularly at the GCSE and A-levels stage. And also she's made very, very good friends as well. And she has this lovely quote, once a St. Mary's girl, always a St. Mary's girl. And so we have several girls from Nigeria every year. And as I say, Fatima became our head boarder last year. So as you can see, we say our first priority is the safety and well-being of our girls. This is both the boarders and also the day girls. And I wanted to say that we have the space for 90 boarders in a hugely welcoming environment. In the photograph behind, you can see girls from several different nationalities, including from Nigeria. We like to think that we are a home from home. We are acting in loco parentis. Now, keeping our borders safe, I am mixing my slides to talk about what we are doing for COVID-19. Until this year, we had one boarding house, Mary ward house where all the students were together with single rooms for girls in the sixth form. But what we have done now is we have reopened some additional boarding accommodation, which is part of our historic senior school buildings. And from next year, this is where all of our sixth formers will be. What it means is that we're socially distancing the children so that all the sixth form have their own space, and all the girls up from year 9 upwards have their own bedrooms. And then the younger girls who would have been sharing in dormitories of up to 6 are now sharing in dormitories with just 2 or 3 girls. And this is allowing the social distancing to take place. We're lucky to have been able to accommodate all the boarders through deliberately increasing the amount of boarding on offer. Now, I'm not going to share this video with you now, but you will have access to the video later. It's about 8 minutes long and would have taken up too much time, but in it, we go through all the detail of everything that we do to keep the girls safe, from the addition of hand washing facilities for everybody. We are increasing the number of sinks on entry to the school, the number of hand washing facilities around the school, the fact that we are introducing a one-way system, the fact that the children are going to be put into bubbles, both in the boarding house and then for the teaching, the fact that we have checked all of our rooms so that all the girls will be socially distanced. Everybody in the school will be expected to wear masks. We've been practicing this already when the children have been in for a few lessons at the end of our term. These are just some of the measures that we are putting in place to keep everybody safe. But I have shared this safety film with Nubi Education, and all of you will have a chance to either ask me more about this later or indeed to watch the film later. But we're very, very proud of this. And we've signed up to the British School Association COVID-19 Charter, which talks about all the health and safety measures that we have put into place. And we also have done a frequently asked questions guidance sheet all about our COVID-19 measures, which is very, very full. And again, if you go onto our website and look at that link, you will find out a great deal more information. So I wanted to say a little bit more about St Mary's Education based in the heart of Cambridge. As I say, we are very, very pleased indeed and proud of our academic results. Our GCSE grades were the best ever last year and the year before. Last year they equalled the year before, and we're confident that for the third year they will be just as strong. And our A-level results, A star and A grade, were the best the last 4 years last year. And we think that high performance learning helps us to achieve all girls' goals. They go up to a huge range of universities, including in Oxford and Cambridge, but a lot of the international students like going to London, to Imperial College or UCL or King's College. They go for a huge range of subjects, a lot of STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, because of course Cambridge is a STEM centre. A lot of them are entrepreneurial as well, and quite a lot of them enjoy things like fashion and art. We offer a very broad range of subjects internationally recognised, but also we support girls with wider education, including EAL, English as Additional Language qualifications, the extended project qualification, the EPQ. Every girl in the sixth form takes that. We do science awards and Lambda awards as well. We are a Christian school. We were founded 450 years ago by women who said, by God's grace, women in time to come will do much. And we are the proud successors now. We like to think that our girls are indeed the women who now, by God's grace, are indeed coming to do much. As I say, we welcome children of all faith and none. We have Christian girls, we have Muslim girls, we have Jewish girls, and we have girls with a secular background, because we feel that we now live in a global society where the girls need to understand and respect each other and to become tolerant of each other's religions. And so all world religions are taught. We have chapel services and we celebrate other religions as well. We are a hugely welcoming community. As you can see from the slide, 20 different countries worldwide have made their home at St Mary's. And Indeed, we have a very, very proactive support to welcoming children of all different nationalities. We have a very experienced team of boarding staff who support the girls on arrival from the international airports. We also have security measures across our sites, key-coded buildings, locks on all of the doors. They have safes in their rooms. We have a very excellent nursing provision. We have counselling provision, chaplaincy, tutoring, student mentoring. The girls themselves are very proactive and look after each other, not least in terms of being prefects and peer counsellors to each other. So there's a really lovely family feel of a school of about 550 girls in total. You can see the sorts of numbers we've got in the school. As I say, 400 in the senior form, 90 in the sixth form, and 170 or so in the junior school. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, we have very, very small class sizes, and you can see a very generous teacher-student ratio, about 8 to 1 in the junior school and 9 students to 1 teacher in the senior school. And the teachers are hugely experienced and give a lot of inspiration and support to the girls. You can see some pictures here of the girls doing their sport and their music, and here again doing Duke of Edinburgh outdoors, and then doing their computing and their robotics. Each girl is enabled to flourish as an individual. Finally, if we had had our prize giving this year, we would have invited back Habiba, another of our wonderful Nigerian alumni. She went to Oxford to read engineering, did her PhD at Imperial College London, went back to work with the Nigerian government on environmental engineering, and is now coming back to work for the British government. And this is a little success story for us. Indeed, St Mary's girls do change the world. And here you've got some pictures of our facilities, and here a picture of us rowing in our iconic River Cam, and some of the facilities that we have, particularly based living and learning in Cambridge. Some pictures now of some of our Nigerian students enjoying scenes of Cambridge, and some further information, and I think I'm just about out of time, so I'll stop now. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. So I was making notes during your presentation. So sorry, would you be able to stop sharing your screen?
Of course.
Thank you. Great, okay. So apologies, I'm reading my notes. So the biggest concern from our families, from Nigerian families, relates to health and safety. Families want to be reassured about the measures that schools are putting in place to avoid another outbreak. And it's reassuring to know that St Mary's School, Cambridge has adopted the COVID Safe Charter, and you would be complying with all government rules and guidance to guarantee the safety of your students on campus through the implementation of, rigorous hygiene and hygiene protocols, and also provision of PPE, personal protection equipment.
Yes, indeed. Particularly because we are insisting that all the girls and all the teachers wear masks when we come back to school, as an additional safety measure to the 1 metre distance, etc. I was formerly president of the Girls' School Association of the UK, and I also sat on the Association of School and College Leaders Council, which is a council of 70 representing over 20,000 members. And so I take the safety not only of girls through the Girls' School Association, but through the Association of School and College Leaders extremely seriously. And so what I have worked on as a former president, and with the Association of School and College Leaders, I'm putting very much into place at my own school.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. This is just very reassuring to know. Okay, so if we could now move on to Sarah Travis of TASIS England.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen with everyone.
That's fine.
I can do that. Let's see. see that?
Not yet. I still just see you. Okay, it says yes, yes, we can see that now.
Fantastic. Okay, let me just move this down to the bottom. Okay, so as Anne-Marie said before, my name is Sarah Travis and I'm a Senior Associate Director of Recruitment, Student Recruitment and Admissions at TASIS, the American School in England. It's not letting me scan down. Let's see if we can do it on here. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. So I'm firstly going to just run through some brief facts on TASIS, just to give you a general overview. Any other questions, obviously we can take those at the end, or you can email me at any point through Nubi anyway. But I'd like to say that we were founded in 1976. We teach students from 3 to 18 years of age. Our boarding actually starts in grade 8, which is age 13. We're very much a leading co-educational day and boarding school, based very, very close to London, so about 30 minutes by train from central London, and just 15 minutes from Heathrow Airport. So although we're very centrally located, we're also very lucky to have a very large 46-acre picturesque campus. So our students really do have the best of both worlds. Each year we have about 650 students enrolled with us, and about 185 of those are boarders. Our current students are from 58 different nationalities. So as I say, we truly are an international school. And we have a policy at TASIS whereby we don't have any more than 12% from one nationality. And that's to make sure that our student body remains truly diverse. We're very lucky to have small class sizes. So the average class size in the upper school is just 10. And our faculty to student ratio, so our teacher to student ratio, is 6 to 1. So for every 6 students, we'll have a teacher. We have over 30 different languages spoken on campus. And in terms of curriculum, we teach the American High School Diploma, AP courses, so advanced placement courses, and also the IB diploma program. Each year our students go on to attend top universities throughout the world. So most will go to either the UK or the US, but we always have about sort of 20–25% that will go to various other parts of the world as well. If they're going to the UK, they will tend to go to Russell Group universities. And if they go to the US, they will tend to go to high ranking or sometimes even Ivy League universities in the US too. So that gives you just a very brief overview of TASIS. I'm now going to go on to talk about our COVID-19 risk mitigation policy. So obviously this has been a key priority for TASIS over the last couple of months, and we think we're very much advanced in this process. So I'm going to talk to you first of all about the lockdown reflections, then what's happening in the UK, and then finally the risk mitigations for a safe return to boarding. So first of all, lockdown reflections. So when the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic first became sort of evident in the UK, TASIS was very much in favour of looking for guidance, help and guidance, and sort of the various processes that we could adopt from a number of different sources. So that included obviously the UK government, the ISI, so the Independent Schools Inspectorate, and also the Boarding Schools Association. As has been mentioned before, TASIS has actually adopted the BSA COVID-19 policy that they've actually put in place, and we will be making sure that we're adhering to sort of all the measures that they require schools to put into place for that. So what's currently happening in the UK? As I'm sure you're aware, the UK government has a system of alert levels for the COVID-19 virus. So they tend to go from 1 to 5. with 1 being sort of where COVID-19 is no longer present in the UK, and 5 being obviously where it's a really high risk and the virus is spreading very, very quickly. We're currently at level 3. And that has involved the gradual easing of restrictions, so with leisure facilities opening, businesses, retail, hospitality, some students already back at school. We have a declining number of infections overall, so the number of infections in the UK is exceptionally low at the current time. And we've also seen recently the introduction of travel corridors. So the 14-day quarantine period that the UK government put into place on the 8th of June has recently been sort of revised. So for some countries, for students travelling from some countries rather, the 14-day quarantine period is still in effect. For example, if you're travelling from Russia, for example, or from sort of other parts of the world where the virus is still very sort of prominent, such as the US. So that 14-day quarantine period is still very much in place. Other countries are now part of the travel corridors list, which means they can arrive in the UK without any quarantine period being necessary. So finally, the risk mitigations that TASIS have put in place for a safe return to boarding. So, for those students that are travelling from countries that still have to undertake the quarantine period, we're asking those students to arrive on Wednesday, the 12th of August. That's because our new academic year starts on Wednesday, the 26th of August. So if students arrive with us on the 12th, then they can undertake their quarantine period in one of our boarding houses on campus. So it's a real sort of safe and secure place to quarantine. So that by the time the quarantine period finishes, they are ready to start the new academic year. For those that are coming from a country included in the travel corridor list, they can arrive a day before school starts on Tuesday, the 25th of August. Any students that do have to quarantine that miss the arrival date of the 12th of August will still be allowed to quarantine with us. They will just have to obviously go beyond the start of school, and in which time, if that is the case, then we will also be running our online learning at the same time. So they will simply be quarantined in the boarding house, undertaking the online learning until they've finished their 14-day quarantine period, and they will transfer then into the classroom to have face-to-face teaching along with the other students. We've put in place risk mitigations for the various different levels that may occur in England. So literally from low to high, we have everything sort of in place already. So for pre-opening, we will have deep cleaning of the entire campus. We already have isolation areas in place. We have our own health centre on campus with its own isolation rooms. We also have a quarantine area that's already been set up on campus, away from the school buildings and away from the boarding houses. All our staff will be fully trained on sort of the procedures and the measures put in place. We'll have virtual inductions, and there will be regular communication between the school, existing students and families, and also our new students and families joining us. Prior to departure, there will be a TASIS travel letter sent out to all our students who require this to explain if they are stopped at customs rather, that they will be coming to the boarding houses either to quarantine or that they are actually exempt. We'll also be giving them our emergency contact numbers in case they need us at any point. They will be sent our arrival and orientation procedures. And as I've said before, there's an early arrival quarantine option. In terms of our boarding houses, we will have boarding house bubbles, we will have isolation pods, daily temperature checks. We have 5 temperature checking stations on campus, and they will be checking both staff and students on a daily basis. We'll have limited numbers of students in our common areas. Assemblies and meetings will take place virtually with students logging in their classroom. Our study halls will have distancing measures put in place, and our boarding houses will have their inductions done online as well. We will also have it so that no students can visit other boarding houses or other bedrooms. So that ensures that the distancing measures are taking place and lowers the risk of obviously any possible contamination. In terms of hygiene, TASIS has always had exceptionally high hygiene standards, and we have actually had no cases whatsoever of COVID-19 on our campus. But we will have increased hand washings stations. We will have an additional 18 hand washing stations. Antibacterial wipes will be placed throughout the campus and will be given to each student on a regular basis for their own personal use. Obviously, a cough and sneeze etiquette. Hand sanitizers are placed around campus, so at each entry point and regularly, and also in classrooms as well. And we'll also have sort of hygiene standards will be covered in our induction processes. We will have posters around campus, and teachers will be regularly reminding students as well. In terms of social distancing, the 1 metre plus rule is now currently in place in England, and we will be adhering to that very strictly. There will be clear expectations amongst the students and staff as what is expected. Those 1 metre plus distancing rules will be in place not only within the school, but in the boarding houses. And we will also be having staggered meal times. We are very lucky, like I say, we have a large 46-acre campus. We also have a very large restaurant area, but in order to make sure that the 1 metre plus rule is always adhered to, we will be staggering our meal times. In terms of healthcare, as I mentioned before, we are again very lucky to have our own health centre on campus with their own isolation rooms. We have a full team of nurses based in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And twice a week, we actually have doctors come to visit the campus as well. As I said, we actually have a quarantine area, which is called our Wellness Lodge. And that is away from the main teaching rooms and away from the boarding houses. And we have clear procedures in place for symptomatic students as well. I'm not going to run through the whole of this diagram because it will eat into my time too much. But as you can see, we have a TASIS boarding COVID-19 care, isolate and test procedures for students. And this is a 9-point plan that we have in place. I can share my presentation for all of those who want to read this in more detail. But it's very thorough and covers literally every stage of the process. Our dining arrangements, I've already mentioned the staggered meal times, but we will also have our food and our beverages and all our cutlery will be served by caterers. So the strictest hygiene rules will be covered with those. We will utilise our outside areas in good weather. We have lots of outdoor space, so if the sun's shining or if it's not raining, we can utilise those as well. And we also have our hand sanitising stations in all of our food and beverage facilities, the areas associated with those. We've also put in place off-campus permissions, and they vary depending on the alert level in the UK. So as I said, the current alert level is 3. So that means that our students visit sort of small local towns, and they can have overnights, weekends with family only. And the different permissions depends on sort of the alert levels that are in place. So if the alert level was at 5, obviously the campus would be locked down and there would be no permissions to leave campus. So we really are being sort of adjusting it according to sort of the alert level currently in England at the time. The same is being put in place for our activities that our boarders take place, so that our boarders are involved in, and also the boarding trips. So obviously, again, if the risk level was at, the alert level rather was at 5, it would be on campus activities only. If it's at 1, then our boarding trips will operate as usual. And lastly, just to mention October break. This is obviously the first holiday period that will take place after the students start the new academic year. We've already taken the decision to keep our boarding houses open for October break. So for those who are not involved in local trips, which some of our students will be, we normally do a 1-week trip overseas in October, but we're not holding that in October this next academic year. That will be held in February instead. We are still planning to do local trips. So some of our students will be involved in local trips, which will mean they're not on campus anyway. And some of those will choose to travel home if they're local. But for all our boarding students that want to stay on campus, our boarding houses will all be open, and that's all 7. We've got 7 boarding houses. All 7 of those will be open, and if it is the case that we need to keep those open for the Christmas period in December as well, we're certainly very happy to do that. It's a priority for us to make sure that our students are always safe and that their health and well-being is our paramount concern. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me today. As I said, I can make the presentation available to you, and I'm always happy to answer any questions either today or later on by email.
Thank you so much, Charlotte and Sarah, for your presentations. Sarah, whilst you were speaking, I made note of the fact that you are providing quarantine facilities for international students who are traveling from countries that are required to, undertake that 14-day quarantine period. So yes, this was definitely a worry for, overseas students and their families. As you know, some overseas families, might not have homes in the UK. They might not have families in the UK. They might also not have guardians. So it's just very reassuring to know that they would be able to quarantine in isolated boarding during the quarantine period, and they would be conducting, they would be doing something constructive in the sense that TASIS England would provide, like a curriculum preparation program, for students to complete, to keep them busy, and to get them ready for studies once school resumes.
Absolutely, and our South Campus would all be open to them, so they could use obviously all the space on our South Campus and the facilities. And for that 14-day quarantine period, there will be no cost to the student for staying for that quarantine period as well. So that's another thing that they don't have to worry about. They can come to ours, they can quarantine safely, and know that there's not going to be any charge for that period as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that information. And now we're going to move on to Yong Fang for Bosworth Independent College.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Can I just first check with you? You can all hear me okay?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you.
Brilliant, brilliant. When I was listening to Sarah's presentation, I thought, this is interesting. Do our principal actually know each other and actually talk to each other, then make that protocol or risk assessment together? Because literally everything what Sarah say is very much what we do here as well. I probably don't going to have the time to talk about our school and plus the pledge we have here. So I think I'll just go straight into the pledge then. Let me just share the screen with everyone first. And hopefully my internet is fast enough.
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can see it now. That is brilliant. And it is a bit slow on my side.
Okay.
And it doesn't. Brilliant. Yes, that's the care campaign we had about 2 months ago now. And you can search it on our website or on YouTube or Facebook. And every school pretty much offer similar pledge. And we make no difference. When students arrive here in the UK, we will have our staff waiting at the airport to pick students up and direct them straight to the taxi and bring them back to school, rather than let students wandering around and see to try to find a terminal to go out, or try to find where the driver is. What we try to do is we try to minimize the time and the contact student will have with anyone at the airport. All the taxi driver we use, they will be wear mask, and also that car will be sanitized as well. And for that, it's not just protect the student, it also protect the other student too. Once students arrive at the school safely, we have decided to test every single student. We would probably test every single staff here at the school as well. We understand at the moment quite a lot of countries, they still, when they arrive here in the UK, there's still the 14 days quarantine period. We already talking to our local MP. What we're saying is, if we test all the students, if all the student test result come back as negative, is there any reason why we still need to quarantine them? Can they go straight back to the class? Because what we believe is online learning, it is a good way, but it cannot be replaced by face-to-face learning. And the students get more, they get an atmosphere from the face-to-face learning. So we're going to test every single student. Even those students don't show symptoms, they might carry the virus. But after the test, we will know actually who is carrying the virus. Then we can isolate them or we can treat them as well. And this is not just for the safety of our student, it also for the safety for the community as well. Before, we always say education first. Education is very important. Yes, education, it is still very important. But now we have changed our mindset a little bit now. We do believe maybe health is first. Without health, you have nothing. You can't do anything. So what we do is we put health into the first place, even before the education. Every single student arriving in the school, then also all the teachers will monitor them, will take the temperature every day. And of course, students will wear masks as well, including staff in the class and also in the community areas. And the check is daily. It's not just once a week, it is daily. And we also provide different care tool for the student too. And that including the masks and also hand sanitize. Student can use it. We also have those around the school as well. PPE is something we have been talking quite a lot. And we didn't understand why at the beginning UK government say, well, students or people don't need to wear face masks. And there's a lot of scientific evidence to show wear face mask, it does protect people. And that's part of the reason why those doctors in hospital, they wear masks. So we didn't understand it, but from day one, we never stopped students wear masks here in our school. Some students feel a little bit isolated and they feel, oh, the other students not doing it, I do it. Is that a good thing to do? Is that a good image to show? And so from day one, we actually have those campaigns to tell students, to tell our students, then also to tell our teachers as well. There's nothing wrong with wearing masks, and students can do it if they feel more comfortable. We also have training. When we say training, it is more like an education. You can train students to do something, but if you educate them to become more aware of this virus, and that will help them, that will help us, the community, to avoid the virus more effectively. And of course, in the school, like most of the school, I believe all the school will have the nurse. We too as well. And we have 2 nurses in the school, so we can cover 24/7. But we also have very, very good relationship with the local GP, and we can always get student an appointment on the same day if need to. This is our senior nurse, Caroline. She has been working with us for the past 10 years and she's very good. The reason why she doesn't work in the hospital anymore is because she likes to have some slightly quiet time, spend some time with her family, with her daughters. So in school, this is very similar, like what Sarah mentioned as well, and I believe that's for all the school. We will have a deep clean to our building, to teaching building, student accommodation, and everywhere, every single corner of the school. And also there's a new way we're going to disinfect the whole building efficiently. I can't tell you too much the whole process at the moment because that is a new technology. We're working with a local business. But if you need those information, I can ask the local business to contact you. Literally, it's very effective. You don't need human being in there. It's just the smoke. It kills all the viruses. We'll stop all the visitors to come in and visit our school. But for the delivery men, for the food, then unfortunately we have to allow them to come to the back door but not come into the school. Then our kitchen staff will go and collect those deliveries. But literally there will be no visitors will be allowed in the school unless the government lower the number of the cases and also lower the warning as well. We not allow students to go out. So there is some questions raised by the parents, say, if what happened if student needs some toothbrush and towel and shower gel, shampoo, that sort of things, we will have those in stock in the school and provide it to the student. So literally, students don't need to go out of the campus. So we don't mix with the others. Our students don't mix with the other people around the town. Then that will reduce the chance anyone get infected. Exia weekend. In our school, we don't have set Exia weekend, so students don't have to leave over the weekend. They can stay here in the school with us. And also for half term, for every single half term student don't need to leave the school. They can stay in the school. We don't charge any extra. This is not just for COVID-19 periods. This is what we do as always. But if some student, they need to visit the university or they have, say, LNAP test to attend, or they have the UK CAT or now called UCAT test to attend, then yes, they can apply, then go out and do those tests. But apart from those reasons, they will not be allowed to leave the campus. So what do they do if they can't go out? Then in the school, we can provide different clubs and different social activities. It's wide range for students, more than what we have offered before. And this will cost us more, but it doesn't matter. Students' health and students' mental health and the result counts better. Recently, the UK government has introduced a new list which countries don't need to quarantine and which countries still need to quarantine. I'm sure all the schools will face the same issues, which is we have Chinese students. We also have students from Hong Kong and from other countries, which there's no quarantine requirement anymore. But regardless whether they have the quarantine requirement anymore, we will ask our students for the 14 days quarantine periods. If the local MP doesn't agree with what we say, which is the testing. So we'll still test the student. If the result come back negative, the MP say, no, you still need to quarantine 14 days. Okay, fine. We quarantine all the students for 14 days. This year, we open up the arrival date from the 4th of September to the 9th of September. So any student can arrive during that period. Then we start the 14 days quarantine from the 10th of September. student will do the virtual induction. And also, what we do is we will have the online lesson during the quarantine periods. After that, then student will have all the face-to-face lessons. And some people might ask, what happened if student couldn't get a flight ticket and arrive here on the 10th and 11th? And if that's the case, then we say student need to arrive between the 12th to the 18th of October, which is our second intake, allow students to come into the school. Then what we do is we will have 2 intake periods, and student can join for whatever reason, for the visa or for the flight tickets. They miss the first one, they can join the second one. But if parents don't feel safe enough to send the kids to us, what we do is we offer the online lessons for the whole first term, and they can join us in January.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Young. So just
okay,
to let you know
now.
that, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Let me just stop share the screen.
Thank you so much, Young, for your presentation. So again, whilst you were speaking, I was making notes, and you know, a question we've received from some of our families is, how will my child get to school from the airport? You know, so you've mentioned that Bosworth, you know, will be providing airport pickup, you know, service, you know, and you would be transporting students from the airport to the school. And it's very reassuring that, you know, sorry, there's a bit of an echo. Okay, so it's very reassuring to know that your school understands that travel to school may present some difficulties, and you are committed, you know, to facilitating this process as much as possible, you know, by providing, you know, airport transfer service. And it's also great to know that your drivers, you know, your taxi or minibus drivers will be prepared with routines for, you know, personal protective equipment, you know, so parents can sort of feel less anxious, you know, about that, you know, that drive from the airport to the school. You also mentioned that before COVID, you know, Bosworth has always been a school that doesn't really have exits, or you stay open for exits. Your boarding houses are also open for half term. You know, again, this is a very positive thing for overseas students, you know, whose permanent residences are, you know, in their home countries internationally. So it's great to know that they always have a place to stay and be looked after adequately during the school term. So thank you so much. We're now going to move on to Jane Grigg of Truro School.
Hello, thank you. I will.
Hi, Jane.
Hello, how are you? I will hopefully share my screen now.
Yes, it says you. Yes, we can see your screen.
Are you seeing a presentation?
Yes, yes, we are.
Oh, you are? You should be seeing a picture of Truro School.
Yes, we can. We can see the steps. Yes.
Lovely. Okay. Sorry, I'm on 2 different systems here. I apologise. This is what working from home does for us, isn't it?
Yes.
My apologies.
That's okay.
I will make sure I've got my mouse on the right page. And here we go. Oh, I'm so sorry to hold you.
No, it's okay, Jane.
Working from home is, mind you, at least I'm not like Charlotte. Well, I wish I was in the south of France like Charlotte. That would be nicer. I am. Oh, my dear me.
So yes, we can see your cursor.
Okay, now it's moving. Right,
yeah.
Here we go. So, very briefly, this is an introduction to Truro School, first of all. Truro School is a co-educational boarding school in Cornwall, in the southwest of England, 140 years old, so steeped in history, but very much with a foot looking forwards into the future. A little bit of a view of what we benefit from. So whilst everyone now is thinking twice about living in the city, you can rest assured that coronavirus and lockdown has been a little less stressful in the beauty of Cornwall as it has been anywhere else. And we've been blessed with, I think, a total of only 500 cases down here. So it's been quite nice to be out in the countryside. But the school is 15 minutes from those beautiful beaches and on the edge of the city, very small city of Truro. That's the school campus, which you can see benefits from where we are in the countryside. Lots and lots of facilities that you would expect from theatres, swimming pools, sports centres, our own fencing cell and art gallery, workshops, and lots of sports fields, and all the boarding there on the campus, just on the edge of the city. That's just some of our facilities. At the school, as I say, a beautiful old chapel from our history, right forward to modern day cookery school, sports centre, theatre. Our philosophy is an education for life, and that is very much about giving children a balanced and broad education, looking at all areas of their education, not just academic, but making sure they're not just prepared for their degree at university, but prepared for what comes after university and life beyond that in future careers, and really adding to society in a good way. The first part of that is our academic offering, which ensures we take every individual on their own merits, getting the highest academic results that's possible for them, whatever that might be. There's a GCSE and A-level programme. We have a wide curriculum until they have to concentrate on their A-levels. The clinic system that we offer provides something for each child. So those who might be struggling with some homework or misunderstood something in their lesson can go to the clinic to go over it again. And equally, those who are absolutely fascinated by something in history or chemistry can go to the clinic to extend their knowledge and further their studies in that area. There's a detailed tracking and monitoring system which enables everyone to fulfill their potential, and Oxbridge programme, medical pathways programme, and a great careers advice through our alumni and Truro School Connected. The second part of that education for life is our vast range of co-curricular activities. And we strongly believe that these co-curricular activities add the life skills that they need when they get to university and beyond. The problem solving, the logic, the teamwork, the leadership, the communication skills, the social skills. And as you can see from some of those pictures, we really make the most of where we are in Cornwall and get the kids a fantastic outdoor outlook on life. A few more there are Duke of Edinburgh and 10 tours, kids and music, drama, all being taken absolutely for everything they can. We are a Methodist school. We are a strong Christian foundation with a strong Christian ethos, which ensures we're looking after each individual and ensuring their physical and mental well-being. And I think that's been extremely important during the last term of lockdown, where parents who send their children to Truro School and they do it for the academic studies, they do it for the co-curricular, they know all about that, they see the results, they see what we're doing in sport and drama and everything, but they kind of took for granted how we ensure the mental and physical well-being of our children. And parents have had privy to assemblies and PSHE programs, and it's really opened their eyes to how we keep the children on track, keep them happy, keep them engaged, and make the most of their well-being for them. So Truro School is a fantastic community of very happy children, and at the heart of that is our Christian ethos. In fact, leading on from that, our ISI inspection deemed as excellent in both academic and other achievements and in the pupil's personal development, which is really important. Just a few words there about our lovely pupils in South America on a trip, actually. So looking back on the summer term, obviously GCSEs and A-levels didn't happen. So we taught all of the other children a leading curriculum so that they were up to speed with where they need to be. In fact, some of our children in the lower 6 and year 10 are actually ahead of where they normally would be, because the summer term didn't have interruptions as it normally has. And in the absence of GCSEs, we taught a pre-A-level programme, and A-levels, we taught a very popular pre-university programme. And all of those important strands of education for life came into play throughout the summer term. Looking at September, many of what the other schools have already listed are absolutely top of our priority. The safety, health and well-being of our boarders and all of our children signed up to the Boarding Schools Association Charter, and it is our aim to exceed those and the government safety standards. Our booklet, I'm afraid I haven't got any lovely pictures like lots of the others have, but arrival in September and quarantining, the regular temperature testing, hand sanitising and hand washing, wearing of face masks within school. We have 2 nurses on site and quarantine facilities on site. The freedom of boarders to use our school facilities, but obviously access to Truro will very much depend on what is allowed at the moment. We've looked at their meals, separating them, the use of kitchens, making sure showers and bathrooms are separated into year group, no visiting the other boarding houses so that we can keep them in bubbles. And the booklet covers all of this that's listed here, even down to increased amount of laundry. Whether the boys are going to be keen on that, I'm not sure, but they are going to be putting their clothes into the laundry a bit more often than they have previously. We haven't decided yet on October half term, but we will be doing so before the end of the summer. We're not a school that offers exeats, so we would expect everybody to arrive and be with us until then anyway, but we'll make a decision on the half term shortly. Specifically for students from Nigeria, obviously there are no flights, and those who do come, when they come, have got to quarantine. And we'll be assisting with those quarantine arrangements. Slightly different to the other schools in that we tried to set up a quarantining programme, but we have 2 boarding houses for girls and 2 boarding houses for boys. And what we've found is that everybody is having problems with their flights and cannot arrive on the dates that we specified. So we are helping boarders to get quarantine arrangements with guardians wherever possible. And for those who are in quarantine when term begins or not yet able to arrive in the country, we will be offering the online programme to them as well as the learning programme in school for those who are here. Whenever they arrive, they will get their boarding induction programme. That's very quick to go through that. And I think I've got a minute to spare, so I should be very proud of myself. But I do feel as if I've rattled through them and even spotted a typo. So if there are any questions from that, I'm very happy to answer them separately.
Thank you so much, Jane, for your presentation. So sorry, would you be able to stop sharing your screen? Thank you. Okay, so
there we are. I am now back with you.
Hello.
Sorry, it's because I had to go round to my other. I'm on a surface and I had a screen, so I do apologise for that.
That's okay.
I think possibly one thing I didn't make clear was that we don't have the facility here like TASIS and Bosworth to do the quarantine for when anybody arrives. Our aim was to get everybody back on the 17th of August and do 2 weeks quarantine. Sure. We have boarders arriving on the 20th, the 25th, the 28th. So rather than having to put them together, which would have been the option, they are quarantining with guardians.
Thank Thank you so much for that, Jane. So yes, one thing I noted from your presentation was, the additional pastoral support that you would be providing for students. You made mention that Truro School is committed to ensuring mental and physical the Truro School is committed to ensuring the mental and physical well-being of each individual. You're very passionate about ensuring that your students are happy and engaged and settled. We all know that positive mental health is paramount to the productivity and success of a child in a school. So it's very important for parents to know that their children will be in a safe, a welcoming, and inclusive community and environment that would enable their children to focus on their studies, and thrive and succeed. So thank you so much for that information. We're now going to move on to Pauline Hutchings of Bootham School. Pauline? Hello, Pauline. I believe you have to unmute yourself.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
We can see you and hear you. Yes.
That's good. Sorry, I've been having technical programs on my laptop, so I'm doing this on an iPhone, which isn't ideal, but I will do my best. So,
that's fine.
Great. So I'd like to start by saying or letting you know what the Good Schools Guide reporter said about Bootham in our latest inspection, that it was strikingly friendly and a calm atmosphere with priority genuinely given to the development of emotional intelligence as the way to future happiness and respect for the individual differences rather than an academic and kinds of achievement. Not that results don't matter. Parents say they bring the best out of children in all ways, and that the talents are cultivated to the highest level. And I think that really sums up very accurately what Bootham is all about. And I think that's one of the reasons it's very popular with Nigerian students, because they are all so very talented and have so much to give in other ways other than academically. However, the last 5 students who left us in July 2019, one went to Imperial College, one went to UCL, one went to the London School of Academics, one went to Warwick University, and one went to Bath. So they all achieved their first choice universities. As a regular visitor to Nigeria, I understand how Nigerian parents are always very, very concerned for the safety and the welfare of their children. And Bootham has been voted, or is, the safest student city in the UK. Our Nigerian students love our city because it is historic, it is small, but has everything a student could possibly want in the way of entertainment, art, culture, theatres and cinemas. Also surrounded by the beautiful Yorkshire countryside, so for students interested in outdoor pursuits, in sailing, in horse riding, in doing the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, we are ideally situated. So our school was founded in 1832 by the Quakers. We have students of all faiths and none, but we are a Christian school with Christianity sort of at the root of who we are. Situated 5 minutes walk from the centre of York through a medieval archway, we are nevertheless quite a large campus. So we have all the sports facilities and other additional arts and buildings that a student could possibly want. As I say, academically, we are very, very strong, getting many of our students to Russell Group universities. As far as extracurricular activities are concerned, every day at 4 o'clock, the school day ends and students have a break, and chocolates and cookies and hot chocolate, fruit juice, fresh fruit, whatever, to get their energy back. And then we have on offer 80 extracurricular activities as diverse as fencing, astronomy club, chess club, computer club, music, arts, cookery, pottery, and many, many more, drone building also. Over these past few difficult months, the school has delivered a full academic curriculum, virtually, plus many of our school clubs and activities have also been running, as well as all the music lessons, they've also been delivered. To look after the school, the students' mental well-being, our school counsellors have always been very, very accessible, and as well as the students' personal tutors. So the students have felt that they really have kept in touch with the school. Sadly, many of the students who leave us will miss their school ball and prom and end of term review, and will leave this, or will have left the school without the usual celebrations. But the Bootham Old Scholars Association is so very, very strong, and many of our students come back to social events and sporting activities every year, so I'm sure they will all keep in touch. So, an academic school that really does get the best out of every child. We have 450 in the school, about 130 boarders from many different nationalities, and a lovely, lovely, friendly and exciting atmosphere within the school. Going on to next term, we have also signed up to the BSA Charter and are preparing for the end of the new term in many different ways. We will open our boarding houses 2 weeks before the start of term for students who do need to isolate. We will collect all our students from either London, Manchester or Leeds Airport and bring them safely back to school. For students who cannot join us immediately at the start of term, we will deliver our curriculum online until they can join us. Fees for boarders who join us virtually and will be reduced to 50%. So if any student is delayed and cannot join us until later in the term, they will have a full academic programme plus a full programme of activities and music, as well as fees that have been reduced appropriately. And as soon as they can join us, every effort will be made to catch them up and integrate them into the school as easily as possible. We're very, very aware that this has been a testing time for everybody, for parents and for pupils, whether past, present, or the future pupils. And we will do everything we can to support them through this difficult time, and hopefully we will put it all behind us very soon and get on and enjoy an exciting new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Pauline. So one thing I noted is, Bootham's commitment to providing a challenging curriculum, for students. And, a concern of Nigerian families is, as you're well aware, the ban on international flights is yet to be lifted, and visa centers are yet to reopen and resume with visa application services. So some parents are worried as to whether their children would be able to return to school in the UK in good time, for autumn term. So a concern of theirs, is, yes, we're aware that a lot of UK boarding schools will make online learning, available to students who are not able to travel to the UK. But there's a bit of anxiety as to whether, these virtual learning programs, will provide the same quality of education. And, so parents just feel, is online learning really the same as, face-to-face instruction? But from your presentation, I feel that, Bootham is focused on equipping students with the same quality of education, whether that's online, whether that's physical classes, and you will be providing the same opportunities for success to students that are learning online in comparison to if they were receiving a face-to-face curriculum. So thank you. I would like to say a big thank you to all of our boarding school representatives. Your presentations were very informative and enlightening. I can say that, we are more up to date with, the strategies that UK boarding schools have put in place, come September 2020 to safeguard students. The pandemic, has caused such a major disruption to everybody's lives. Life as we knew it has changed drastically, and we know it's a bit of a daunting experience for students, and it's good to know that you're all ensuring positive mental health and well-being for students. Students, whether they're learning on campus or online, they would have that pastoral care support. They would have somebody to talk to about their fears and concerns. So it's very reassuring to know that you're really prepared for the forthcoming academic year. Now we're going to move to our Q&A session. We've been receiving a lot of questions in the chat box. I wanted to say that questions are for any delegate, so once I read them out, whoever is comfortable with answering them, please go ahead. So I would just start with the first one. Actually, I believe there was one question for Sarah Travis of TASIS. Okay, my question is to Sarah Travis. What measures have you put in place? What measures has TASIS England put in place in terms of quarantine for non-boarding students? So for day students, I guess, how will, what maybe social distancing measures will be put in place? How would, because day students, they come to school for classes and then in the evening they go back home, so they are exposed, to the outside world, so to speak. So how are you going to safeguard, boarding students, from day students who go home after a day's work? So this question is for Sarah of TASIS England.
Sure. I mean, exactly the same measures will be in place for all the students at the school. So whether you're a day student or a boarder, we have, like I say, roughly about 185, 190 boarders each year. And the rest of our sort of 650 students are day students. And exactly the same sort of very stringent measures will be in place. So not only adhering to all the UK government guidance, but obviously going beyond that, adopting the BSA COVID Safe Charter and also the additional measures that TASIS have put in place. So the temperature checking stations all day and boarding students will be subject to those. The additional hand washing that we will be requiring students to do will be for all students. The PPE, so the gloves or any face masks, they will be available to all students. The 1 metre plus social distancing, again, applying to all. The quarantine will be available for all. The isolation in our health centres, again, available to all. So all of these measures go right the way across the school. So it's not only for our boarding students, it's very much for all the students and indeed all the staff as well.
Thank you very much for your detailed response, Sarah. The second question we've received is, recently the federal government of Nigeria suspended the WAEC examinations indefinitely. It is most likely that the exams will not be conducted this year. They are usually conducted in May, and due to the pandemic, they were postponed to the 4th of August. To run through to the 5th of September. But a few days ago, the government of Nigeria said that, the exams, have been suspended indefinitely. Now, Nigerian families want to know how students would be assessed for admission, to boarding schools. So basically, the WAEC is the equivalent of GCSEs, so would you admit Nigerian families to your schools based on, for example, their final year transcripts from their current secondary school, their most recent school reports? How will you be, assessing students' academic ability for admission to your school? So this is for anybody.
At TASIS, we will certainly be very flexible this year on our entry requirements. So we understand, for example, that families may not be able to get recommendation forms, or they may not be able to submit all the results. We don't actually have any specific entry tests as such. We have a very sort of individual admissions process. So we look at things such as the last 3 years academic transcripts. We ask for 3 recommendation forms. So from the head of school, the mathematics teacher and the English teacher. We also have a student questionnaire where we ask the students a series of questions. I think there's about 10 or 12 questions, so we can get more insight on them as a student and them as a person as well. So it's very much an individual process as well. So yes, so we will be looking for last year's academic transcripts as opposed to asking them to sit formal exams. But as I said, we're showing flexibility in our admissions process this year because we understand that maybe it's not going to be possible to have a full transcript. So yes, by all means, anyone that's interested in studying at TASIS should contact our admissions office, and we will provide further information on what is absolutely essential and what we can be slightly flexible on this year.
I think that all schools in the UK will be very sympathetic. You have to know that the British government has indeed suspended its public examinations. Students in the UK have not taken either GCSE or indeed A-levels themselves. So I think all schools, not just TASIS, not just St Mary's, all the schools here and other schools in the UK will be much more flexible about how we are allowing the students to make progress into entry points. As I say, British students themselves are not being graded by public exams. There's a different way of assessing GCSEs and A-levels. So for St Mary's Cambridge, we have our own entrance exam. We've always had that, and the students would simply do that, and there would be a face-to-face interview, as I'm sure there are, an online interview, as I'm sure there are from many other schools. So I think all of our schools here will take a very flexible approach. We're trying to help the families. We believe in the education in the UK, and we'll do everything we can as individual schools to support applications. So please be reassured by that message.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Charlotte. Okay, another question that we received is, and I quote, "We are all aware of the pandemic's financial impact on families. Some of us have had to have significant pay cuts to our salaries. Others have had to lose their jobs. Can you confirm if your schools will render financial assistance to families that are unable to afford the full cost of education? In addition, the fluctuating exchange rates is not helping the situation. So will your schools offer merit-based discounts in the form of scholarships and needs-based financial aid through bursaries?" I know Sarah Travis of TASIS England mentioned that, TASIS will be providing the global community scholarships and financial assistance. I would like to ask our other boarding school delegates on here if you would be providing, that similar financial support to families that have been affected by the pandemic.
Certainly, at Truro School, we offer the scholarships, which are actually recognised by a very small reduction in fees, because what we concentrate, the money that we are able to award is actually concentrated where it's means tested and the money is really needed. So in a case like this, they might be considering going for a scholarship if they're gifted in music or very academic or sporty. That may get them a scholarship, which is great. They become a scholar, they have all the kudos that goes with that during the course of their sixth form. But in actual fact, the reduction in fees is quite small. The additional reduction in fees, depending on means testing and what's required by the family, can therefore be much greater. And it means that Truro School is not just giving scholarship money away to people who don't really need it. We concentrate that on means testing and where the fee reduction is required.
Thank you so much, Jane. Another question I've received is, the pandemic has drastically changed the manner in which teaching is delivered. Face-to-face classes were suspended and schools around the world were forced to close early. All schools had to move their programs online. With regards to the transition from on-campus physical classes to online learning, how have your existing students adapted? So were your pupils motivated to join their classes online? Were they engaging with their tutors and connecting with their school peers? What was the mindset, for your existing students, in reaction to having to complete their study programs online?
Mary. We use Teams. There are lots of different platforms that schools can use, and every single lesson was taught, if you like, 3D live, so that the tutors and the teachers were directly teaching every lesson. I know in other schools, some lessons were taught and other lessons, the children were set work and then they gave that in. For us and for the sort of students we have at St Mary's, we felt that the direct face-to-face contact was hugely important. The girls hugely engaged. As I say, they are very determined, very spirited, they're very independent-minded, and they work in utter collaboration, both with each other and with their teachers. So they went off into individual sort of channels on Teams, and they were working in separate groups, doing peer-to-peer work, and then coming back and feeding back to their classes. Alongside the lessons, the formal academic lessons, we had the full provision of our tutorial programme. So the girls were registered in the morning and indeed in the afternoon, met up with their tutor groups and were able to talk, because for us, as for many other schools, the Christian message of the holistic education, the breadth of vision of the education of the whole child is very important. So we were mindful of their mental health and well-being and their personal and social development. Not only that, clubs and activities took place online. So as headmistress, I would join in with lunchtime activities. So for example, our environmental action group continued to meet online, or the girls debating group. So they were debating online. We had girls coming in from Nigeria, from China, from the UK. And what was amazing was that I know that Nigeria is on the same time zone as the UK, but often for our students in Southeast Asia, for them, I suppose the teenagers, their body clocks are set slightly differently, but they would join in with our lessons in our time zone, but that basically meant from about 4 p.m. English or Nigerian time to about 11 o'clock midnight. And when their classmates saw that the students were coming in from China or whatever, and they could see what time the clocks were saying, they were really, really amazed and impressed, and that encouraged their independent learning and their collaboration. So for us, the lessons moved completely seamlessly. And as one of the other colleagues said, in fact, in some ways we might have gained a little bit of teaching time, because unfortunately, some of our end of term activities had to be cancelled. I mean, although we did do like a virtual sports day, and I did a virtual prize giving, they weren't quite the same and didn't take up quite the same amount of time. So we in fact felt that we gained teaching time, and in some cases I think feel that we've moved our teaching and learning significantly on, and that no lesson time has actually been lost. I don't know what other colleagues' experiences were.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Another question that we've received is, what happens if there's another outbreak or lockdown? How will schools cope? And just to add to this, a lot of families have been worried that there would be a spike of COVID-19 cases, as the year progresses, so families want to know, what would happen if schools are forced to close again? Will students be asked to leave the schools and, go to, I don't know, with guardianship or host family provision be arranged? Would they, be asked to return to their home countries? What support will be made available to students if schools are forced to close again? So this is for anybody.
I think, sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. I think that the answer is that nobody knows.
Yes.
But the students' welfare is at the heart of everything that our boarding schools do, and we will cope with it. We have coped with very unusual circumstances, and most schools have coped incredibly well. Our students have coped. We're all in this together, and we will work it out. We'll make it work. Boarding schools are incredibly adaptable. They always have to be, and we will just react professionally and compassionately and quickly.
I think all of us would agree with what Pauline is saying. British schools, a lot of us are working with this COVID-19 charter, but ultimately we're bound by British law and working within the guidelines of the National Health Service and expectations. Certainly from our point of view at St Mary's, we would try to keep the school open and keep the boarders with us, so that we would then switch the learning to go back online, as I've described very successfully. But if, for example, we weren't allowed to do that, let's say the boarding houses had to close, then it would be our duty in loco parentis, that great Latin phrase, in the place of parents, to make sure we do absolutely everything to support the students. What we would look to do immediately is to place them with their guardians. But if the ruling was that the students needed to go home, we would do everything we could to support them with flights back, which is exactly as Pauline says, is what the schools were doing during the summer term. And I'm sure that Sarah and Jane and Yong would say exactly the same thing. about their schools, and indeed other British boarding schools. We are a group of excellent and outstanding schools, and we take our professional and our pastoral duties to the parents and the children extremely seriously. And within the confines of, as Pauline says, we don't quite know what the situation would be, but we would act professionally and pastorally, but within the confines of what the British government dictates for us to do.
Thank you so much, Charlotte.
Can I just add on to something?
Yes, please, Young.
I can't say exactly what we are going to do if there's a second spike or second wave of coronavirus. But what I can tell everyone is what we did when the first coronavirus hit the UK. The school was forced closed by the government, close to the end of March. But actually, we have students here, they could not go home, they could not get a flight ticket, they can't go anywhere, because the more the move, the higher danger it is for the student to catch a COVID-19. So actually in our school, our boarding house stayed open until early June, until everyone could get a flight and safely home. So that's what we did. I believe if the second wave came up, and we will try our best, do our duty, and we'll do something similar again.
We actually did the same. We had 15 of our boarders that couldn't return home because the countries they were from closed their borders very early and they couldn't get back in time. And the last 3 boarders actually only left yesterday. So our boarding houses only actually closed yesterday. Those boarders have been on campus. So I think, as everyone has said, our paramount concern for every single boarding school in the UK is the health, safety and well-being of the students. So we will do what it takes to ensure that. And as I said, TASIS, literally we just had our last student, our boarder, leave yesterday. But I'm sure any other boarding school that could offer that facility would do the same thing.
Oh, sorry, just realized I've been talking to myself. Okay, so thank you so much for your statements. So now this is not related to the pandemic in any way. It's we have a parent whose child, wants to go on to university and study medicine. As we all know, medicine is a very competitive degree in the UK. Students would need to, really demonstrate high academic prowess, in their subjects. They'll also need to complete the UK University Clinical Aptitude Test and, have good, relevant voluntary experience. This parent would like to know what support is available, or what support do your schools provide to students who would like to study medicine at university? Do you arrange voluntary work experience for them? Do you arrange maybe for them to attend lectures at local universities? Or yes, if any one of you could elaborate on that.
Well,
sorry, shall I continue? I'll be brief. At Bootham, we're actually very lucky that we are 5 minutes from the York University Teaching Hospital. And we have a very good relationship with the hospital. For one of the reasons is that their air ambulance has to land on our school playing fields, which is great for them, not so good when there's a match in progress, but that's fine. So work experience, many of our parents actually are parents of day pupils, work at the hospital as doctors and surgeons, and we organise work experience at a very early stage for any student who wishes to take a medical degree.
And very much like Pauline, based in the University of Cambridge City, we have access obviously to Addenbrooke's, but also other hospitals in the city where actually, in fact, cutting edge research into COVID-19 is taking place. And the school, many of the families, local families, are the family's academics. So not only do we have access to world-class Addenbrooke's Hospital, but also to the chemistry faculty, which is about 2 minutes walk from St Mary's School. The physics laboratories are a stone's throw from us, as indeed the engineering faculty is about 3 minutes in the other direction. So we have access to world-leading facilities, which we wouldn't be able to afford as a secondary school. But because we have links to the university, for example, our physicists are able to go to use the Cambridge University physics faculty equipment. During lockdown, we've done a lot of this online. Parents have been very generous of their time because they've been hugely impressed by the quality of our online programme. In fact, one of the professors of the university, who's a bone specialist, wrote to me last week and said that what St Mary's was providing online was better than either the University of Cambridge or indeed Addenbrooke's Hospital had been able to do. So a lot of the parents are grateful for the provision and have given support and tutorials sort of online to the girls. And our alumni, our former girl students, have been very generous with giving information about universities, not just medical schools, but all universities, because students can't get to visit universities at the minute because they're also all in lockdown. So our alumni are providing information as first, second and third year students, rather like the Nigerian student I put up online, who would have been our prize-giving speaker, who is this environmental engineer. She's been very generous of her time with other people. So I'm sure others, it's not just at Mary, lots of schools will either, as Pauline has said, provide support through parents or indeed through alumni from their former students.
Thank you so much, Charlotte.
Can I just quickly add something?
Yes, please, Young.
What we just did last week is we had done the Medic and Oxbridge webinar, and we actually record that session. So I can send that to you later, because if you want me to talk about it to the parents regarding that, I'm sure everyone can talk hours about it, because applied to Medic is quite a complicated process, and you need to do those tests and you need to have the experience and this and that. And we are actually a BMAC center here in our school. So what I would do is I will send the link with our webinar to talk about the Medic. Then maybe you can share that with the parents.
Thank you so much, Young. That would be so helpful, and thank you very much. I would like to ask our parents who are yet to type in any questions into the chat box to please do so now, and I will read out your questions to our boarding school representatives.
While the parents typing the questions, can I just mention something you asked earlier?
Yes, please.
Regarding the scholarship.
Yes.
We have always been offering scholarship. It's not just during the COVID-19 periods. We have been always to all the students from around the world, whether they're from European countries or UK local or international. As long as they are good enough, they get applied for the scholarship. And when I say good enough, it's not academically, because also sometimes when you apply for a scholarship, you got to be a role model in the school for every single student to see as well. So what we do is we have a scholarship test, and student can go for it, and we'll have the interview as well for the student with the principal or the assistant principal. And after that process, then we'll make a decision. The scholarship will go from 20% to maximum 40% on the tuition fee. So that's what we do as a scholarship process. We understand, because we keep checking on the exchange rate as well. Parents mentioned it. The Nigerian currency has been go up and down, and there was a period, it must be about 3 years or 2.5 years ago, certainly, Nigerian currency just plunged it from 180 to certainly £1, then you get 300 Nairos. So at the moment, what we do is we look at it carefully, then we tend to offer Nigerian family a 10% friendship bursary when they apply to cancel the part of the inflation for the currencies.
Thank you so much, Young. So I'll just check the chat box. We haven't had any new questions, but I would like to inform our parents and students that this information session has been recorded all this while, and so we will be sharing the video footage with the individuals who are logged into the session, those who registered and however were unable to attend. And we are also, I believe both Sarah and Young mentioned that they would be very happy, or Sarah said she'd be very happy to share her presentation slides, and Young also mentioned that he would share the link to the webinar on medic program support provision. So we will be sharing these materials with you all, and we would also be happy to set up one-on-one online meetings with our boarding school reps for you, parents and students, should you want to have further discussions with the delegates. I believe, we are now coming to a close. So I would just like to say a very big thank you to our boarding school representatives. It's very clear that your institutions are, planning to reopen in September. You're all going to be running online learning alongside face-to-face delivery, for students who are not able to travel to the UK for one reason or another. And we can all see that your individual schools are committed to providing a rigorous and balanced academic and co-curricular program for your students. For you, the safety and well-being of your students is also paramount. And, this is very reassuring for parents. You all have protocols in place, to safeguard your students and academic faculty, and we are just so thrilled to hear this. I would now like to pass on to the Nubi Education Executive Director, Mrs. Rose Omonubi.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm excited because I have really learned so much. I know I have visited some of your schools and I've met a lot of you, but I haven't really I learned more than I saw. I had the saying that you market better what you see, but I have learned more today from all of you. And we have so much information now to ensure that our parents make up their minds, and the ones that listen and the ones that will listen after this will surely know that UK is safe for them to go, and you are all set to open in September, face-to-face learning. And I think one of you said, if you cannot come, it wasn't you, Sarah, that said, if you can't come now, you have online this fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I said that, Rose.
Yeah, you have online this fall and then start in January. That is very, very encouraging for some parents. you have addressed many of the questions, many of the concerns of the parents. Pauline, you are a frequent visitor to Nigeria, and you know Nigerian parents are very protective of their children. So what they want to know is that there is safety for them. I don't blame them, because it happened to me. I stayed 9 years in the UK studying. But when my son was going to the university in the UK, I went back to school. And what that meant is that all the schools that gave offer, I studied the life, the campus life, everything about the school. I just wanted to make sure that it's safe for my child to be there. You see, so I don't blame them. I have been there. And what Anne-Marie was talking about, what safety, how children are safe, if there's another spike or what has happened before. I'm happy that some of you really addressed that issue, because we had, although this is a university, it's not a boarding school, where a child was forced out of the campus, you know, and he didn't have where to go, and that was very, very bad. And that is the type of thing that doesn't really show that you care. And we have a parent that has 5 years and 6-year-old that want to relocate to the UK. So what we have is the complete fee of the boarding schools. We don't have the separate fee that will show what tuition that the children will pay, because the parents will be taking them to school. And I think it's St. Mary's and TASIS that have 5 years to, Truro has 5 years to 6
4 to 18, yes, junior and senior, yeah.
Yeah, yes, you have. Do you have a breakdown of the fee, or you'll send it to us later?
Yes, I mean, we certainly have, obviously we have our full year boarding fee, but we also have our day fees, and we also have a breakdown into semester 1, semester 2. So I can send that to you, that's not a problem.
Okay.
That too.
So I would say thank you to all of you that have taken time. It's a long time. We've spent so much time today. And then for the parents that logged in, and some of them have gone, but they will get the video. Like Anne-Marie said, the recordings are going not just for those that registered, not just for the people that came. There are some school counselors that will send the recordings to. And one of them was here from CIS. CIS is one of the foremost secondary schools in Nigeria. We're going to send it to them. We're going to send to BIS, Grange, all the schools we work with, and it's going to be on YouTube. The one we did in June is already on YouTube. So what you've done today is going beyond what, beyond today. So I will say thank you, and say thank you for the parents who are still here. We're very proud of you. We talked about scholarship, we talked about bursary. I'm happy to tell you that Nubi Education has gone further to, we have agreement, or we are in partnership with 2 very top Nigerian banks. So the arrangement is that if we have a parent that has a very good income stream, but cannot pay the fee upfront, the banks will loan the parents the money to pay. They will pay the fee for the parents, and then they will be paying them in installments. So that is how far we have gone to support our parents as well, because we are very keen about the aspirations, the dreams, them realizing their dreams and aspirations. So that is good news coming from the side of Nubi Education for our parents. So now, parents, you have heard us, it's safe to go to UK this September. So all we want to see is now the applications rolling in. Thank you very much for the afternoon, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Lovely to
Charlotte.
see you,
Thank you,
Rose. Thank
Sarah. Thank you,
you.
Pauline. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Young.
It's very good to see all of you today.
Thank you.
That's what
Thank
we love
you.
time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Everyone stay safe.
Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you. Bye.
Bye.